Almost every family has secrets its members fiercely guard from the outside world. But not all guardians keep these secrets willingly. And sometimes, a secret becomes so monstrous that the unwilling keeper is driven to take up arms. José Enrique Menendez was born on May 6, 1944, in Havana, Cuba. When he was 16, revolution swept the island, prompting his family to seek refuge in the calmer shores of the United States. José was a bright young man, gaining admission to Southern Illinois University with ease. It was there he met his future wife, Mary Louise Anderson, known to everyone as Kitty. The couple married in 1963. After José graduated, they relocated to New York. He secured an office job while simultaneously pursuing a second degree in accounting and financial management. José Menendez was ambitious, hardworking, and relentlessly driven. Steadily, he climbed the corporate ladder at the Hertz Corporation, the international car rental giant. His big break came in 1986 when he was offered the position of commercial director at the prestigious music label RCA Records, home to stars like Eurythmics and Duran Duran. José, of course, accepted. The label's headquarters were in Beverly Hills, California. Without hesitation, José bought a luxurious mansion there and moved his family. He held deeply conservative views on family structure. The man should be the breadwinner, the woman, the homemaker. Initially, Kitty disagreed, working as a teacher. However, that changed when she became pregnant. Their first son, Joseph Lyle Menendez, known simply as Lyle, was born on January 10, 1968. A second son, Eric, arrived 2 years later. The parents spared no expense for their son's education. Both boys attended the prestigious Princeton Day School and, after the move to Beverly Hills High School. José had immense expectations for his sons. He demanded perfection in everything: academics, sports, social conduct. Mr. Menendez invested heavily, funding numerous extracurriculars, including tennis, his own passion. From an early age, both boys lived under immense paternal pressure. Obedience was absolute. Their own opinions and desires held no weight. To grasp the scale of José's ambition, he envisioned one son becoming president of the United States, the other a senator. While he tempered these expectations over time, the relentless pressure took its toll on Lyle and Eric. As the firstborn, Lyle was groomed as José's successor. His admission to Princeton University filled his father with immense pride. But just 6 months later, in early 1989, Lyle was expelled for skipping classes and plagiarism. Eric also bore heavy expectations, though of a different kind. He showed exceptional tennis talent, and José was determined to mold him into a professional player. Eric was the calmer brother but easily influenced. He initially showed promise, reaching the quarterfinals of the U.S. Junior Championships in 1987, losing only to the future champion. José responded by pushing Eric even harder. The pressure became unbearable, culminating in a nervous breakdown. Eric fell into bad company and began abusing drugs. In 1988, he was caught shoplifting. He avoided jail but was mandated to see a psychotherapist. On the evening of August 20, 1989, Kitty and José planned to watch their favorite TV show. They invited their sons, 19-year-old Eric and 21-year-old Lyle, both still living at home, to join them. The brothers declined, saying they were going to see the newly released blockbuster, Batman, directed by Tim Burton. After the movie, they spent time at a café, returning home only around 11 p.m. But as Lyle and Eric entered the living room, they were met by a horrific scene, reminiscent of the film they'd just watched. Their father lay dead on the living room sofa, their mother nearby, on the floor. A terrified Lyle immediately called the police. Officers arriving at the mansion found a weeping Eric on the driveway. He led them to the living room. "I can confidently say it was the most horrific sight I'd seen in my 26 years in law enforcement," Detective Leslie Zoller, the lead investigator, later recalled. The murder weapon was a Mossberg shotgun. The killer had to reload it twice, as its magazine held only 5 shells. The brutality of the murders was so extreme that police initially had only one suspect: Cuban organized crime, then prominent in the U.S. underworld. The theory was José had been involved in shady dealings with his countrymen that went fatally wrong. Other possibilities weren't seriously considered. The press seized the story, portraying the newly orphaned brothers who'd lost their parents in an instant. Yet, Lyle and Eric didn't behave like grief-stricken sons. Upon inheriting their father's fortune, they embarked on a spending spree. Within 6 months, they blew over $900,000 on luxury cars, designer clothes, lavish parties, and other indulgences. Eric tried reviving his tennis career, hiring a professional coach at $60,000 a year, efforts that paid off with wins in 2 semi-professional tournaments in 1989. Lyle opened Chuck's Spring Street Café, but with no business acumen, he was forced to shut it down within 6 months, incurring massive losses. This extravagant lifestyle eventually drew police scrutiny. A year of fruitless searching for Cuban mob ties shifted the focus squarely onto Lyle and Eric. The truth about what happened to Jose and Kitty Menendez surfaced in an unusual way. Eric confessed to his psychotherapist, Dr. Jerome Oziel, whom he'd been seeing since the 1988 shoplifting incident. Realizing the danger, Eric told Lyle about the confession. Lyle berated him, then confronted Dr. Oziel, threatening to kill him if he went to the police. Dr. Oziel kept the confession confidential, partly believing Lyle's threats, but whether accidentally or deliberately, he revealed the brother's secret to his girlfriend, Judalon Smith. It was Smith who contacted Beverly Hills police on February 13, 1990. Detectives spent another month gathering circumstantial evidence. On March 8, 1990, Lyle was arrested. Eric was competing in a tennis tournament in Israel at the time. He returned to the U.S. on March 10 and surrendered voluntarily. The brothers then spent 3 years in separate jails while a California court debated a critical question. Could a confession made in a therapist's office be the primary evidence in the Menendez murder case? The millionaire shooters trial, as dubbed by the media, began in December 1992. The brothers were charged with murdering their parents. They pleaded not guilty. The prosecution alleged that on the evening of August 20, 1989, Lyle and Eric waited for their parents to fall asleep and crept up behind them with a Mossberg 500 shotgun, bought illegally by one of them. After committing the murders, the brothers hid in the house, fearing neighbors alarmed by the noise would call police, though the neighbors, hearing pops, dismissed them. Lyle and Eric then collected the spent shells and slipped out through the backyard. They went straight to the cinema and then the cafe, ensuring they were seen by many. Later, returning home, Lyle made the call to police. Both brothers acted out grief so convincingly that police initially suspected nothing. As the trial progressed, it became clear Dr. Oziel's testimony might be enough to convict. Realizing this, Lyle and Eric suddenly confessed, but they claimed they acted due to years of horrific abuse by both parents. Both brothers testified that Jose had sexually abused them from early childhood. He told us it was normal, that even Roman soldiers did it, that it strengthened the bond between them. We had to do it to make our family stronger. Eric told the court. The prosecutor, trying to catch them in a lie, pressed for details of the alleged abuse. But Eric and Lyle described events with such chilling specificity that even the prosecution felt doubt. The brothers also described their preparation for adulthood, involving severe punishments for disobedience, strict discipline enforced by beatings or worse. Not only Jose was implicated, Kitty also became abusive. The brothers claimed her alcoholism worsened with age, transforming her personality. One time she came into my bedroom, lay down next to me, and said, "You'll like this, just don't tell anyone." This will be our secret, Lyle testified in court. Their testimony sent shockwaves through the public. Family and friends split into 2 camps, believers and skeptics. Intriguingly, among those supporting the brothers were Jose's own sister, Vander Molen, and their cousin, Andy Cano. Both testified that the brothers had confided in them as far back as 1976 about their father forcing them to give him special massages. Back then, Vander and Andy weren't believed, and they weren't believed now. In 1996, Eric and Lyle were found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. As an additional measure, they were sent to separate prisons. Before the sentencing, on July 2, 1992, Lyle married former Playboy model Anna Erickson. She filed for divorce 5 years later, accusing him of infidelity via letters to another woman. In 2003, Lyle married again, this time to attorney Rebecca Sneed. As for Eric, on June 12, 1999, he married Tammy Ruth Saccoman. In a 2005 interview with ABC News, Tammy commented, "This is something I dreamed about for a very long time. This relationship is very special to me. I never thought I would have something like this." It's important to note, despite being married, neither brother is allowed conjugal visits with their wives. They can only meet a few times a year under guard supervision. "The lack of intimacy is hard, but it's not a problem for me," Tammy Menendez admitted on Larry King Live. The most important thing is the emotional connection, and I have that with Eric. My family doesn't understand. When we started this relationship, many of my relatives were horrified. Recent developments. In 2018, after numerous appeals, Eric and Lyle were permitted to serve their sentences in the same prison. Meeting for the first time in 22 years, the brothers embraced and wept. Later that year, in December, a bombshell emerged. A letter Eric Menendez wrote to his cousin, Andy Cano, in December 1988, surfaced. It was found by Jose Menendez's sister, Andy's mother. The letter read, "It's still happening, Andy, but now it's worse for me. I never know when it's going to happen, and that drives me crazy. Every night I lay awake thinking he might come. I know you told me I should put it out of my mind, but I'm scared. You just don't know Dad like I do. He's crazy. He's warned me 100 times never to tell anyone, especially Lyle. Maybe I'm a fool? I don't know if I can survive this. I'll handle it, Andy. I need to stop thinking about it." The letter was authenticated and had never been part of the trial evidence. The Menendez brothers' attorneys sought a new trial based on this new evidence, but the court dismissed the letter as insubstantial. Then, in April 2023, Puerto Rican singer Roy Rosselló, featured in an NBC documentary about the Menendez family, publicly alleged that Jose Menendez had sexually assaulted him in 1984. In May 2023, Eric and Lyle's defense team, citing Rosselló's allegation, filed a new appeal seeking to overturn their convictions, arguing Jose may indeed have been a predator. As of now, no new hearings have been scheduled.